And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game from Slugfest called Dungeon Decorators. Now, Slugfest is best known for the Red Dragon Inn, where a bunch of adventurers sit around and they talk about their adventures they've been on. And that's kind of their shtick, right? The goofy, based on like a role-playing style game. Well, this is the same thing. You're a bunch of people making a dungeon, but you want to make that dungeon super decorative and put up all these different decorations and so that you can please your overlord bosses. So that's kind of a silly theme, and that attracted me to this. It is a tile drafting laying game. Let me show you. In this game, each player is going to be one of 4 different colors, deathly designs, villainous interiors incorporated, giant pulsating brain reality, or 2 shovels and a dwarf. You're also going to put a pawn here on the board, randomly placed, and you have a score thing here. Just going to keep track of your score throughout the game. Every time you hit 50, you go back to the beginning and take one of these 50 tokens. Now, what players are doing is they're trying to score points from a few things. There are 2 decks of boss goal cards. You'll draw 1 card off of each to use over the course of a game. So here we have Daphne the Doppelganger. There's quite a few different monsters that you could be fighting against. And Diana Creepy Doll. These are the people who are going to be overlooking your various dungeon construction. Players are also going to have cards from shape goals and from decoration goals, and you're going to have some of these in your hand at the beginning of the game, and these will be the main way you get points as the game goes by. In this game, there's going to be piles of tiles that are going to be put into 2 bags here. The blue is for the first half of the game. The red is for the second half, because in the red, you're going to have these 3 time tiles. And when these are drawn from the bag, then when the third one is drawn from the bag, the game will instantly end. Each round of the game, you're going to draw tiles from the bag. You'll get rid of any tiles that may still be there. Tiles have 2 sides. They have a decoration side, and then they have a corridor/room side. When you draw them, you're going to look at the numbers here. So here we have 42, 84, 243, and 342. So I'm going to put these in ascending order. So we put them like this. Now, starting with the first person, that person's going to choose one of these tiles to take. This means they're going to just draw one randomly from the bag in the middle. And if they do that, they can also trade in one of their decoration goals or one of their shape goals to get a new card. So maybe you want to try to get something different. So that's one way to get more cards to work on. So whichever one you pick, you're just going to do that like this, maybe. This is the way it works. When you go to a spot, you're going to take that tile. That tile is going to be added. You can add it to your dungeon as a decoration or as the room/corridor. Now, you don't need to flip the tile over because the front tells you exactly what it is. This shows that it's a green tile, and if there's only 1 decoration on it, that means it's a room. In this case, there's 2 decorations like this, so I know it's a straight corridor, and it's purple. This one here has only 1, it has 2 wild decorations. They don't count since it only has 1. I know it's a room, and I know it's white, or a normal room. And this one here has 3 decorations on it and a star, so I know this is a 3-way crossing with a star on it. Now, stars are great to get in your dungeon because they simply give you points at the end of the game for every star that you have. The decorations are going to matter as you place tiles in your dungeon. As you place tiles in your dungeon, you have to place them so that they always connect back to here. So I'm allowed to do this, even though this kind of shuts that off. And it needs to connect back to here, although I might want to do this. When you place a decoration in your dungeon, it has to be next to a wall, like this. You can never place a decoration so that it blocks a path. But I could put a decoration here, so that means there's a torch as part of that room. If I have this one here, I might decide that I'm going to put this key as a decoration for that, or I might put some books here as a decoration for that, because many of the goals in this game require you get different rooms with different decorations. So I might put these tokens here. Now, some of these are wild, and you'll notice that green one there. Whenever I get a tile like this, I get one of these tokens here, which look like an escape from Super Mario. You can spend these to turn a wild into anything you want when you score a card. As I said, there are decoration cards. So if you have one of these on your turn, if I have a room that has 2 treasure chests and a torch touching a room, and this is a room, then I just reveal this card and I score 18 points. Here's an easier room to do that only needs a treasure chest and a key, and that would give me 10 points. Here's an even simpler one. The hallways, they don't even need to be on the same room. They all need to be in the same place, but this just means I need to have 2 hallways with those decorations. So at the end of your turn, if you can score a decoration, you can do so. Shape goals, you're looking for something very specific. Here I just need a colorful room next to a colorful hallway. So that's going to be a little trickier, although, man, let's see, like this would have worked to do that. And so the shape goals are going to be things like that. Where here I have an over-decorated guest room. This means I have a hallway with 2 decorations next to a room that has 3 decorations. But sometimes they're just shapes, like this one here. I need to have that shape somewhere in my dungeon, and the octagon means it's a room. The U-Haul, etc. So you're going to be scoring these after your turns. There are actually 4 different icons that can show up on tiles as you get them. I already mentioned one of them, giving you these blocks that you can spend so that a wild turns into an item that you need when scoring it. You can also, if you have an Arcane Architect, you get one of these tokens, which lets you rotate a room later on, as long as it's legal. The Burrow Brothers lets you draw 2 tiles from the bag, and you pick one, so that's great. And the Goblin Sapper gives you a generic tile. So you have a pile of generic tiles near the board that are just basically a room on one side and a corridor on the other. And then you can just use those and add those to whatever you need. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, you're going to be drawing tiles. You can store 2 tiles on your board if you don't want to put them out later. And when the 3rd time tile is drawn, you're going to score. So now we'll go back to these boss monsters here. You'll score these. The player with the most green wild icons attached to walls gets 10 points. And then the creepy doll gives you an extra 3 points for every star icon in your dungeon. Stars are normally just 3 points each, which again are scored at the end of the game. Whoever has the most points is the winner. But one more thing before we end, and I should mention that, is that colors matter. You might have been wondering, why are those colors there? Because you're going to score points based on the number of different colors you have at the end of the game, and that's shown on the other side of this card. So if you have all 6 colors, that's 16 points. Then you'll pick the color you have the most of. So let's say I have 4 purples, then I would get 11 points. So whatever color I have the most of, I count how many there is of that type, and that's how many bonus points I would get. So the components for the game are okay. I mean, there's some things that I love. I really like the artwork on the different boss cards. And this artwork's great, but unfortunately, it's contained to those boss cards. Or also, I guess, to the artwork on your player board. The dungeon itself doesn't look that exciting. The decorations are okay. I mean, it's neat that there's these colors here. And by the way, it's nice that the colors also have a different pattern in the background to differentiate them. That's great. But when it comes down to, like, if this is my dungeon, that's not very exciting looking. And even like the decoration goals, they have a funny name on them sometimes, like Combination Reading and Panic Room. But I don't know. I found this game, it feels like a very nice prototype. I mean, the quality's fine. The tile quality's fine. The bags are fine, easy to get your hands in. These tokens are good. These are fine, but the theme is never really there. It's not a theme-filled game to begin with. I just wish it looked better. So one of the things here about this game, and if I didn't make it clear in the overview, when you pick a tile and you put your thing underneath that tile, you then slide to the top. So the tile you pick is going to determine the turn order of your picking for the next round. This isn't the first time that this has been done. In fact, it's not even the first time it's done with tile laying games. This has been done before. So the better tiles are supposedly the higher numbers. The rooms are all higher numbers. Some of the ones that let you take an extra tile are in the higher numbers. Other than that, the numbers didn't really matter to me as much. I almost never thought, I'm picking a tile so that I can go first next turn. I always picked the tile I wanted, and the turn order was secondary to that. So that's, I think, problematic. Another game that used this thing similarly, the Mini Golf Designer, had the same kind of aspect, but you could see the tiles that were coming up. Here you don't know what tiles are coming up next turn, so you don't even know if you want to go first or not. So it's only you're just picking the one you want, which kind of takes a little bit of that bite that would have been out of the game. The game itself is pretty easy. You're going to draft a tile. It's interesting how the icons on one side tell you what the shape is on the other. It's not remarkably intuitive, but once you figure it out, it's pretty easy. And so you're taking tiles for the decorations or for the things. And you build this up. And it works. There's a couple problems I have with the game. The fact is I like the game. I find that the idea of building a dungeon is a lot of fun. And I like the idea of putting it out there and doing cards. For some people, doing the shapes is going to be easier. For some people, the decorations is easier. I think the point values are about the same. And so you kind of will lean towards which one you want to do. You can do evenly on both of them, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And then you're also thinking about getting stars and other points. So I like all that, but I have two problems with the game. First of all is I feel like the game ends rather abruptly when those stars come out. They could come out pretty early, they could come out later, but the fact is you put 50 tiles in each bag. And in a 4-player game, so there's 50 tiles, so divide that by 4 and you have 12. But it's not going to be 12 tiles per person because there's things that let you draw more tiles from the bag. And you're throwing away a tile sometimes. Because someone drew one from the bag, and so it's closer to 10 tiles. And then in your second bag, just figure that you'll get 2/3 of that before you draw your third time tile. So it's about 15, 16, 17 tiles building your dungeon. It's not that many, and it just felt like it ended before you were really able to do really cool things. So that's one problem the game has. The other problem is the theme. I was excited by the idea of dungeon decorators. That's a newer theme. I like that. That's fun. But it doesn't really come to life. The game's very abstract, which is fine. It's a decent game. But this is the company that gave us Red Dragon Inn, where the game was all about the theme, the silliness. Now that one went too far the other direction for me. Too much silliness and not a strong enough game. This one went too much into the game, and the tiles don't look that interesting. The decorations aren't there. There's not a lot of art in the game. And to that end, this one's a harder sell for me because people who want to play a very thinky game are going to be kind of turned off by this theme likely. And people who like this theme, I think, will be a little bit disappointed. So this one is just shy of being a game that I would give approval to. I think it's fine. If you ask me to play it, yeah, why not? It's interesting. There's some cool decisions. It's just that I wish they had taken the concept and run a little bit more. Maybe knocked out one of the special abilities. Maybe made it so there's more tiles. And I know that more tiles would have made the game more expensive, but it feels a little short, which is rare for me to say with games. And it also, the theme wasn't tied as strong as I want to. Building it is fun, matching the decorations, completing cards, satisfying, so all that's good, but the other things bring it down just a bit for me. So that's Dungeon Decorators. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment, a nice, pleasant game.